guys, I'm going to show you really quickly how to add an assessment to your online module. So in my development course, I'm just going to click over here where my online modules are. And you see I've already set up my module for week 1. So you can actually set up your assessment from within your module. All you need to do is hover over assessments up here and click on test. And you'll see this area where it says create new test. So I'm going to click on create. And this is going to walk me through the creation process. So I'm just going to say whatever you want the name to be. You might, in the description area, put what the students are going to be tested over. Something along those lines. You'll have one chance to take this quiz, and questions will be in random order. Okay, and I'm just going to click submit. So that's just setting up the title for my quiz. Next, you'll see that it's going to prompt me to add my questions. So all I need to do is hover over create questions, and you'll see all of the different question types I can choose from. So you'll remember from the soft chalk that I want you to at least include 5 different question types. And you have instructions below that for how to do each type. But I'll go ahead and just start with one of the easiest ones, which is multiple choice. And you'll see here is where I give it a question title and the text. Okay, and I scroll down. I'm going to go ahead and say show answers in random order. You don't want to select this if you have an all of the above answer, but in my case it should work. So the correct answer is going to be blue, but I also need to add in my distractors. Okay, and then I scroll down. If you want to provide feedback, you just say so that's feedback that students will see at the end of the test. I'm going to skip over the categories and keywords. You don't need to really delve into that just yet. Instructor notes you can leave blank as well, and I'm going to submit. So that adds my first multiple choice question to the test. And you'll see over here is where I can give it a point value. So say I only want this one to be worth 5 points. I can do that there. I can also make this an extra credit question if I want, but they make it really easy to give your point values. Okay, so that's a multiple choice question, and you'll see right from here I can go ahead and create my next question. So I could do a hotspot or a jumbled sentence or any of the other types, and it's just going to add that to the test, and I can also adjust my point values. Okay, so once I have all my questions, I can click OK, and you'll see that it prompts me to add the week 1 quiz still to my week 1 module. So I'm going to submit it, and there's still some things I need to do in terms of the test settings. So here's where I need to set my availability, so whether or not it's available or not, whether or not to add an announcement, how many attempts to allow. So in our case, I had told them 1 attempt, so I'm going to unselect that. Forced completion, so making sure that they complete it in 1 sitting. Here's how long you'll give them to take the test. So let's go ahead and do 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I'm just going to leave the auto submit off. Here's where you select your display dates, so when you want the test to be available. So say I want the test to start at 11:59 p.m. on the 4th. and that means students won't see it until this date. You can also add a password if for some reason you only want to release the exam to one student. You could give them the password and then only they would be able to access the exam. And then you can also add a due date in, so that particular module would be due the following week at 11:59. You're also going to want to tell it whether to include it in the Grade Center score calculations, which means do you want to see it in your grade book, and you do. And then finally, what type of feedback students can see. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of that. And here you have whether or not students will see all the questions at once or one at a time. And you can also prohibit backtracking. And here's where you want to randomize questions to minimize students' temptation to cheat, since it's an online test. And so I'm going to click Submit there. It doesn't like that this is not a valid time, so I'm going to go ahead and choose end of day and submit. Alright, so that adds the week 1 quiz to my week 1 module. And you'll notice because I set the start date in the future, it's not yet available and it says when it will be available, but it still resides here within my week 1 module.